Okay, so grab your list of measurements, and we're going to be doing this with a Sharpie so that you guys can see. But I definitely would recommend using a pencil so you can actually erase all the lines where you will probably inevitably mess up the first time. So we're gonna go with the sweep first, which was the bottom. I know it sounds strange to start with the bottom, but the t-shirt we had was 21 inches. So you're gonna actually divide that by 2, and you're gonna make a line across that's 21 inches, like so. You can make little marks here and here. And then at the center point, which is 10 and a half, you're gonna make a line here, or a little mark there. And this is where the gridded paper really comes in handy, but if you have like a L ruler or like some sort of right angle thing that can guide you, you're gonna make just a big line up the front. You can make a dash line or whatever, since this is just for like a reference for you, because you'll be actually making a lot of measurements to the side of this. So now we're gonna go with the body length, which was actually from the top of your shoulder to the bottom of the shirt. This is also where you can actually customize the length a lot if you like by adding more down here. But we're going to go ahead and measure up here. Hayden's shirt was 28 inches, so we're going to measure from here to be 28. Since this ruler is too short, we're just going to start it from here, which is the 4-inch mark. So you're going to mark it up here at 24 inches. You can also continue the guideline like this. So now we're gonna go and do the neck width, which was from like where the shirt is from the side of your neck to the other side of your neck, which for Hayden, his t-shirt was 9 inches. So we're gonna actually center 9 inches on this line, your center front line, and you're gonna draw 9 inches across. But just make sure that the center part is on the guideline. So you're gonna make marks there. So that's your neck. So you took the angle of the shoulder measurement, which was 1 1/4 on Hayden's shirt, and on most shirts it's gonna be between 1 and 1.5 inches. So you're gonna actually measure down 1.5 inches, and then you're gonna draw a straight line across. The shoulder on Hayden's shirt was 18 and a half, so we're gonna center that on the center line here, and you're gonna make little marks. So now you can see that's the angle of your shoulder. If you forget this step and just make it a straight line across, you can have like weird Spock shoulders. I mean, unless you're into that kind of thing, but this is just to follow your natural body shape. We're gonna do the chest, which if you remember from our measurements, we didn't measure exactly where the chest came from. So what we're gonna do is make some guidelines along the sides, the width of the chest, which was, for our t-shirt, it was 22 and a half. So you're gonna center that on here, and you're just gonna kind of eyeball it and sort of make little marks on the side so that you know where the side, where your armpit's gonna hit at some point. But we'll get back to that part later. So here are your little guidelines. And now we're gonna go into the armhole, which we said was flat 9 3/4 inches. So this part's a little tricky. You gotta swing the ruler around so that 9 3/4 eventually hits your little lines that you made on the side. And that's where your armpit's gonna go. So it hits right here, so you're gonna make another mark here. This is why I recommend doing this in pencil so you don't have these distracting black marks all over your pattern. It'll make it easier to follow. And we'll do the same thing on this side. You're gonna swing the ruler around until your 9 3/4 mark, or whatever your armhole measurement was, hits the black line on the side. And you're gonna make another mark there. So there's your armpit. So here, this is the chest line. And now we're going to go into the waist, which for most guys' shirts is pretty straight. For the girls' shirts, it's going to be fairly curved depending on how tight you like your shirts to fit. So we measured this from 18 inches down. So you're going to take it from here, the high point shoulder again, and you're going to measure down 18 inches, which is here. And then you're going to center the waist measurement, which was 21. So that would be 10 and a half here. And you're going to make little marks on the side again. So now you see you have a general outline of the side seam of your garment, which we're going to use our hip curve to kind of make a smooth curve all the way down. Again, since it's a guy's shirt and they don't really want to have any waist shape, this is a really smooth line. You can actually use a straight ruler on this part. So for all the girls out there who are doing this, this is where you can actually create a more fitted shirt here by bringing the waist measurement in. So we'll also blend this in on this side. Again, if you just want to use a basic French curve from your local art store, that should work out as well to get you a smooth curve in your pattern pieces. And now we're going to move on to the neck. So this is where you can actually get really creative and you can make it a V-neck or drop the neck down lower. But I'll follow Hayden's t-shirt since we're just doing this for the first time. So the front neck drop was 4. So you're actually taking it from the highest point of the shoulder, which was this line. So you're going to measure down from here 4 inches. And again, you're going to want to make a smooth curve if you can. This is also why a pencil is good, because you're going to have to actually make a lot of little marks here and then blend the line. So next up is the across front, which is what we measured from 5 inches down. So you're going to actually go back up to this high point again on your shoulder, and you're going to measure down 5 inches. And our measurement was 17. So you're going to center that on this guideline that you made, and you're going to mark it at 17 inches across, which is here and here. So all you need to do now is fill in the curve of the armhole. So this is also a little bit tricky, and this is where your French curve or your hip curve is really going to come in handy. Luckily, it's knit and it's a t-shirt, so it's not going to like make or break anything if your curve is off by a little bit. And the easiest thing to do is just trace it, fold it, and trace it over on the other side, but we'll go ahead and fill it in on this side as well. Just try to make it as smooth of a curve as possible so you don't have weird, like, armpit nipples coming out. Does anyone have armpit nipples? One shortcut you can take if the across front and across back measurement are the same is to just trace this whole front body onto a new piece of pattern paper, and then you're going to actually raise the neckline for your back neck, or however you want to customize it. So our back neck was 1.5 inches, which you would measure from the same point up here between the highest point of the neck. And you're going to measure down 1.5 inches here, and you're actually going to use your curve again to make a smooth curve like this. And again, you can fold it over to make it symmetrical on the right side of the back neck and the left side of the back neck. But that's just one way to save time, since with t-shirts, most of the time the front and back are the same. If the across back is different and wider than the across front here, you can actually just get rid of the armhole, or not trace the armhole over onto the back, and just do the same thing. but just make it the wider measurement here, depending on what your cross back came in. And then you're done with the back pattern. So now that you have your basic body, you're going to add the seam allowance, and it's actually what you're going to sew together. So for most t-shirts, it's actually pretty small, like 1/4 of an inch, but since this is our first pattern, I'm going to go ahead and make it 1/2 inch. So this is where your clear ruler comes in, and you're actually just going to line up, if you see here, it's gridded off at 1/2 inch, and you're just going to line up the 1/2 inch line with your pencil lines for your pattern. And you're just going to kind of run your pencil along the edge, and you're making a smooth 1/2 inch section over here. So this is where you're going to be stitching, and this is the seam allowance. And for the bottom, if you want to do like a 3/4 inch hem, you just line up the 3/4 line, just draw it across. The next pattern piece we're going to do is the sleeve. So you can tell, looking at your t-shirt, it's actually pretty simple. So we're going to start again with the hem of the sleeve. So you'll kind of work from there up the way you did with the body. So we'll just draw a straight line across. Take what the measurement was for the whole hem of your sleeve, and you're going to mark off the beginning, the middle, and the end. 1, 7, and 14. And then you're going to take the length, which is from this point down to this point, which the t-shirt that we measured was 9 inches. So you're going to line it up with 9 here, and you're going to draw a straight line up. So you have your center line, and you're going to actually take your bicep measurement, which is from your armpit, straight this way. So we're going to take Hayden's measurement of 16, and we're going to center it on the line that you drew from top to bottom. And you're going to do a line at the beginning, the end, and make sure it lines up at the middle here. And again, this is kind of like the way we did the chest with the body pattern. So you're just going to make a few lines up and down the sides. The next measurement we're going to do is the sleeve inseam, which is actually the underseam of the sleeve. So you're going to take that measurement, which for Hayden's it was 3, and you're going to, again, swing the ruler around the way you did with the body until it hits 3 at this point, and with the little marks that you made on the side from this point, and that's right where it hits. So you're just going to draw a smooth line from there to there. So now we have almost everything. We just need to draw the curve in. So again, you're going to take your hip curve or your French curve. And since it's knit like the jersey fabric and it has a lot of stretch, you can just kind of make a general curve as long as it's smooth from this point. So now to double check your sleeve, the measurement you took, you can take that flimsy ruler again, and you're going to measure along not the seam allowance, but the actual curve line of the pattern. Because if you don't do this, you'll end up with weird puckers and like bubbles where you sew the sleeve in. So you're going to take this, and again, you can do this with your tape measure. You're going to take this times 2, and if it matches up the curve of your sleeve, then you're good to go. The next and last pattern piece, depending on if you want to do a rib on your neckline, is just going to be a rectangle. Take a measuring tape here, and you'll make sure you start from one seam so you can keep track of how much, or where you started, and you'll know exactly how much to cut. So you're going to measure all around the neckline. So we have 23.5 inches, and depending on how big your neckline is, that number is going to vary. For this t-shirt, it's going to be 23 inches, And let's see here. And because it's on the fold, you're going to take this measurement and you're going to double it. So this one here is 3/4 of an inch. So we're going to do 1.5 inches. And there it is, your neck rib. Boom.